Hi guys, I'm Ryan Euston and welcome to my fly tying channel. If you haven't already done so, consider hitting the subscribe button down below. That'll keep you up to date with everything as I upload it. My channel already contains hundreds of videos covering a wide range of both patterns and techniques, from the basic to the more advanced. So without delay, let's get on with the show. Okay, so salmon fly tonight. This one is my cone body version of the Curry's Red shrimp. So, and this is a medium sized one. So what I'm going to do is I put in there a bit of 1.8 black liner, and I've flared the back of it with the lighter. This is probably 20mm long, although I will not use the whole length of it. And now I'm going to add a bit of 3.2 outer and push that back until there's about 8mm here between the flange and the front. Use a good strong tie-in thread and use it to compress the outer tube onto the inner tube. Now, for a tail I'm going to use Arctic Runner that I have purposely dyed in a golden pheasant breast feather type colour. So I trim a bunch of that off. Swap it round into this hand, and then I'm going to take my super glue and just dab the end of it, put it on not quite the full length of the outer tube in there, and tie back till we meet the flange, and that gives us our tail. So some sort of flash in that, I'm going to use crinkle mirage, although you can use crystal hair or silver or whatever you want, whatever suits your own taste. And double that over, so there's two strands in it and they're about 2/3 to 3/4 tail length. So the rear part of the body, I'm going to use a black dubbing. Now this is a mixture of black wool and black non-fusible fibre, so like Angelina or angel hair type stuff. Although it is worth saying that in this fly I do fish a few different variations of it. I keep them in the box, and just depending on water height and water conditions I might vary between them. So one of the variants that I would tie would have a silver angel hair rear to this rather than the black. Next we're going to put on a silver badger hackle, and again I suppose it's worth saying that I do fish a version where I would use a red badger hackle in here instead of the silver. So just think of it as a template as such, and you can sort of vary a little bit within it, because there are variations of the curries anyway. You know, you have the dusky, the dark, those sort of things. I fish a glow bright one, which is sort of where mine thinking on this one is coming from, and the hot bead that's about to go on next. So put that in. Don't be overly worried about how neat or otherwise that is, because the bead is going to push it all back, or the cone, sorry. So we have a fluorescent red cone here. Pull back the hackles and we just get a blob of super glue in there on the tie off and ram that bead tight back onto it, and then trim off our thread tight up to that. So I'm going to swap now onto a black Danville's Flymaster 6.0, and the front of the fly I'm going to tie here on as short a bit of inner as we can manage, and we're going to tie in the jungle cock first. So I'm going to tie them in on the sides. So I'm using the little white enameled portions to tie in on, because those are flat and help to keep your feather pointing the way you want. I'll just use the stalks and pull them until they're the same length. They're obviously tied with the good sides facing in towards the tube at the minute because we're going to fold them back when we finish the fly. And now I'm going to tie in a little bit of a wing, and this one is it's a silver fox mask, although again on the variation theme I do also fish variants of it where I use red fox mask just to get that bit brighter. So we'll flip that round and tie it pointing forwards. Tie it down. I'm going to trim this bit off, and then I'm going to super glue an inch or so of my thread, a couple of turns across that, and then fold it back on itself and tie across that. So now I'm going to fold the jungle cock back as well, fold all back, and a couple of turns across that to hold it in place, and we'll finish this off with another silver badger hackle. So I'm going to double that and put it on. There should be a little I or info button somewhere up in one of the corners of the screens here, and that should lead you to a playlist of techniques, and some one of them will be where I have doubling, hackles, etc. in it. So wrap the hackle, stroke it back as you go. Trim off tag end, and now we're going to put on a silver hybrid cone to finish the fly. So we'll set that up onto our needle, hold all this back, and then I'm just going to get a blob of super glue around the tie-in and ram that back in to it. Hold it position till it sets. Trim off the thread, pop the fly off, cut off leaving about 1.5 mil or so, maybe 2 mil of inner, and then flame that so that it flares back, and then I just like to use a little thickish needle just to make sure it's patent, and that is our fly tied. So that's our medium version of the Curry's red cone body, and as you can see that bright cone shines through, a little bit like the whenever I tie it on a hook I would tie with glow bright veilings. So the bright cone in this sort of serves that, and when it's in the water you can really see that shining through, especially in the peaty water. So hopefully you like what you see. If you do, like, subscribe, tell your friends, check out the other videos on the channel, and until next time, tight lines. Thanks for watching.